Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Pink Edit podcast hosted by yours truly, Eleanor. Hello everyone, how are you guys doing on this fine day? Hopefully you guys are doing better than the weather here in Wales. On the day I'm filming this, which is the 15th of April, today there was thunder and like heavy rain and then sun and clear skies. If you guys don't know, Wales and the UK in general, like weather can be literally a whiplash, because one minute it could be raining, the next it could be sunny and clear skies, and you're like, where did this come from? Literally, like I think quite a few days ago it was hailing. I think that was Sunday actually, it was hailing, and then Monday it was like sunny, bright blue skies, and my weather app, which I can't trust it to be honest, said it was gonna rain, so I decided to stay inside and try to finish my essay, but it turns out it was sunny the entire day. I could have gone for a nice walk, but I wasted it inside. But luckily I finished that damn essay and handed it in anyways. But yeah, the thunder was so loud today, because it was before dance class as well, and I was like, I don't really want to go to dance class because I had to walk in that rain, and I was like, I don't want to do that, but I ended up going. The video is uploaded on Reels and TikTok and my Instagram, so make sure you guys follow me on YouTube, Instagram and TikTok if you don't already. But yeah, definitely been quite an eventful few days recently. Little side rant, but for those who don't know or haven't listened to the introductory episode, if you guys don't know, one of my all-time favorites anime is actually the volleyball one called Haikyuu, and I'm sure you guys know. If you didn't even know that I like that, you probably have heard of Haikyuu if you're an anime fan. It is one of the most well-known and probably one of the most famous sports anime of all time. And yes, I watch only sports anime and only watch them exclusively in dub. Come see me. My personal reason for that is that I just think the Japanese voice actors, their voices don't suit the characters, because they don't make them sound extremely like what they're supposed to sound like. Like the youngest is like 14, 15. They should not be like sounding like a 45-year-old. They should be something like a 14, 15-year-old, and that's why I think the dubbed voice actors, the English ones, they are better, just because I think their voices suit the characters more, and I imagine them having that voice instead of the Japanese voice actors' voice. But anyways, moving on, like I said, on the day I'm filming this, yesterday they just released more information about Haikyuu, because if you guys don't know, I'm waiting for that damn movie to come out, because I thought it was going to come out at the end of 2026. No, they lied and said actually it's coming out in 2027, and that was announced last year. I have to wait 2 years to watch a movie? Are you kidding me? Anyways, they released more information. So first one was actually the manga author / artist. He just released a couple panels, new drawings of what the first year Karasuno students are supposed to look like in third year. And let me just quickly say, why do their haircuts look so chopped? Like, I love them loads, but it looks like they went at it with a pair of like those kid scissors, the really like blunt ones, the ones you get in primary school. It literally looks like that, and whoever told them they look good, please stop lying. But yeah, anyways, that was the first thing. But it still looked really good though. And then the second one they announced was that they were bringing a new stage play for Haikyuu, which I'm really excited about because I've seen the first one through like clips on YouTube and stuff, but now they're gonna do the inter-high prelims. I'm really excited to watch those through YouTube again. So yeah, I'm really excited. And also, final thing, sorry. This is based on Blue Lock. If you guys don't know, that's the football sports anime, or if you're American, it's soccer. But yeah, it's the football one. And they just announced I didn't know that, but they're doing a live action version of Blue Lock, and they just announced Kei from An Team is gonna be Nagi Shiseido. I'm actually gobsmacked, but I'm really excited because I didn't think they were gonna ask a K-pop idol to become and play a character from Blue Lock, which obviously I watched all of Blue Lock as well. I'm really excited actually. So anyways, moving on. So this week's episode, we are going to be talking about productivity versus burnout, which I think obviously is like a very big part of just everyone's lives, especially if you are juggling quite a lot of things, or you're part being a uni student or a student in general. Whoops, that was my cup. Or you've got a proper job, or even home life, whether that's like a stay-at-home parent, and I guess you could say stay-at-home child, but I'm not too sure. Unless you're a student who's focused on doing GCSEs, there's much to worry about as a stay-at-home child. But yes, this week's episode is based on productivity versus burnout. Okay, so I guess everyone knows what productivity and burnout is, but for those who don't know, productivity is, being productive, doing things that make you feel accomplished, or things you have to accomplish, such as schoolwork, like a proper job work, like if you have deadlines, essays, projects, stuff like that. And burnout is when you finally feel like you have no motivation to do anything, you just can't think of, things to pull yourself out of this like little sluggish part of your productivity phase. Obviously, I am no stranger to specifically burnout. Obviously in uni I've had many phases of burnout, specifically third year now. I've definitely had quite a few burnout phases that's lasted like probably most 2 weeks, which is not great, but I still powered through it. But I think it's that knowledge of knowing that this is your final year now, and just like it's near end, so like it feels like you can't really pull yourself out of the thing where it's like, oh, I have to do this and this. Like personally, I think that I cannot pull myself out to say like, oh, it's your final year, you're supposed to do good, because I mean your final grade in uni, or like like if you get 2-2, 2-1, whatever, is based on 2 years. It's just second and third year kind of mixed together. So yeah, it's been hard for me to pull out, because I don't know honestly. But I was a professional burnout and crash out, especially during my last year of sixth form. The amount of crash outs I've had in sixth form was crazy, because just there was so many factors of just like affecting me, and just me being a rut and whatever, like loads of stuff just was going on personally. So yeah, I definitely say I'm no stranger to burnouts and crash outs. I'm a professional at it, thank you. But yeah, anyways, productivity and being productive to me, like my favorite type, I guess you could say, is actually me cleaning and organizing. It's just something about that like once you completed it, it feels so good and that I can relax. I don't know if it's some sort of like an OCD thing or whatever. I'm not very OCD, to be honest, but like my dad always tells me this at home, because I always say like I need to clean my room, and he's like, you clean it like almost every night, what is there to clean? But I always find things to clean. But yeah, today I cleaned the bathroom. I felt so good after that, because we had the maintenance man come back in to kind of fix like final things in the bathroom, because basically before Easter he ripped out the shower and redid that bit of the bathroom and left it disgusting, and there was dust everywhere and paint splatters everywhere, and he used our hand towels and stuff and soap, which I'm quite annoyed with, but that's not the point. I cleaned that up because he left like a pile of dust by the door of the bathroom, which doesn't make sense, but yeah, I cleaned it all up anyways, and there was paint splatters all over the floor. I did laundry and I cleaned my bedroom. So yeah, like I said, cleaning and organizing is one of my favorite types of productivity, even though I know that's not supposed to be like the main focus of productivity or where my energy is supposed to go to, because I am a uni student and I still have essays due in, which I just handed in earlier this week. One of my final essays for one of my modules, it's due next week, but because I feel like I'm running a little behind, that's why I decided to hand in it early. But that also felt really good, you know. And I guess you can just be like, burnout just seems to appear more when it comes from things you don't like doing. So personally, I feel like I get burnt out from schoolwork a lot because I just don't like doing it. And I know that's like ironic considering the fact that I decided to go to uni. But yeah, like I said, I feel like I just dislike doing specifically essays as well. So yeah, I find it really difficult to get myself out of that like rushed and everything. But I guess there are ways to obviously, well, not I guess, there is ways to manage this. Personally, the way I manage it is just like, I know I have to give myself breaks between doing different types of schoolwork or, you know, any projects or essays and stuff, because I know that sometimes like if you just continuously do like a very long period of just complete schoolwork all day and night, every day, 7 days a week type of thing, you're gonna really burn out and you're gonna literally crash so hard, like at an unexpected time. Sorry, I just couldn't say that properly for some really weird reason. But yes, you'll just unexpectedly crash out at some point. It could be in the middle of doing an essay or whatever, and you shouldn't do that to yourself, because that is like a very mentally heavy thing to put on yourself. And burnouts always come from, you know, mental tiredness too. It's not even saying physical tiredness, you know, if you wake up early, go to bed late type of things, but also just like you're not giving yourself a break mentally, like even going for a walk in the park, or, you know, letting yourself doom scroll for like half an hour or something like that. You should give yourself a break to just not completely put all your energy and focus into the thing for way too long. And that's why they say, especially when it comes to like say studying for exams, that you should do breaks every time you study, because, you know, you can't retain any information when you know you're slowly mentally exhausting yourself. And obviously these breaks can look different for many people depending on, you know, what they do all the time. So like uni students, you can go on walks, you can go to the local coffee shop and get yourself a coffee and sit there for a little bit, or you can go into the city centre and do a little window shopping before you go back to a cafe to study. Or like if you're a stay-at-home parent, you can sometimes ask relatives to look after children or help with certain tasks or if it is to take care of children or pets, let them take them for like a weekend and you can go on a little road trip or something, or just have the house to yourself where you have nothing yelling at you, nothing shouting at you, nothing just like taking your attention away from trying to relax. Because there's just times, like, I know people love their pets, they love their children, but sometimes you need a break, and that is valid. You should not feel bad for taking a break. Like I said, even if that break is doom scrolling for half an hour, because it's not like sometimes people can afford to go out to walk because of weather, or if they go out, they're influenced by spending money or something, whatever it is. But honestly, you have to try to find a good balance between the both, because doing too much productive stuff specifically to just like making yourself concentrate will lead you to burnout, because you can only concentrate for a certain amount of time. Even people who go to the library go on breaks, whether it's to go down to the local shops to get a snack, or go for a walk or whatever. You just have to take a break. But honestly, when I really think about productivity and burnout at uni, though, also besides like being overproductive, is like this whole thing of like motivation. Like motivation obviously is a big factor too, like that what makes you go and do whatever you need to do, right? But especially this whole myth thing of like making a perfect or an aesthetic study routine. Now let me tell you, I don't have routines, okay? Like, not very many, okay? Study routine is non-existent to me. I just do it when I feel like I want to do it. Because I feel like if I force myself, I'm not going to retain any information, and then it's going to be waste of my time. So I do it, like I said, I do it when I feel like it. But this whole thing about having a perfect or an aesthetic study spot or like a routine, it's not, I'm not saying like this is whole like it's extremely bad, but I'm saying like it should not rest on having a perfect or an aesthetic study routine to make yourself go and do these things, because at the end of the day, nothing is perfect. Study isn't going to be perfect, you will burn out, you will crash out, things won't go your way. Specifically more about this aesthetic too, when I hear it, or whatever, when people go to quote unquote aesthetic cafes and stuff, there is one in my city which I went with a friend, and let me tell you, that does not change my motivation. It doesn't make my motivation increase to go and do my studying, because even if it's an aesthetic place, you're staring at a white wall, honey. There's nothing aesthetic about that. I feel like aesthetics is not a motivational factor, It's more like, it's just, oh, it looks pretty. That's it. It looks good. But it is not, personally, like, I think it's not a motivational factor at the end of the day. It is just a white wall you stare at when you take your eyes off your laptop or your books. Or I always see on TikTok how, especially with deadlines, people's productivity shoot up the 2 days before deadline, and then they call it deadline stress. Guys, you should not be leaving it 2 days or a day before the actual deadline, because I mean, if it works for you, it works for you, but it's just like, especially if it's like a dissertation or stuff like that, it is a very important piece of your entire uni career in like a research paper or something, and you should not leave it like 2 days or even a week before, especially dissertation. That is very important, and that's such a big piece of document that I feel like you shouldn't leave like a week before, because obviously I've seen a few classmates who currently do dissertations, and they have to go out to do research. They have to gather their own data. You are not going to gather enough or suffice enough data to go then create a really good that's my personal opinion. But if you're lucky enough, you'll have a lot of people answering your questionnaires or something, because I always see people post it on this area like, please answer the questions, right? And most of the time I do actually skip those, but I just imagine you only had 5 answers within a week. What would you do? So yeah, I feel like with deadline stress, you should plan it out. And what I've learned over my years in uni is that you should have a plan before you start writing your essays. But with references, I actually just search them the same time I'm writing my essay. I know some people do it differently. Some search for references first. They make a list of it so that they know they've actually, and then they can cross it off if they use it or whatever. But personally, I don't go looking for references or literature before I start writing, because I don't know what I'm writing yet. So I cannot be like gathering these, and then if they don't, they don't fit into what I'm saying, what's the point in wasting my time searching for them, right? But yeah, that's my logic in doing essays, is first plan it in bullet points, put out sections, and if I write the essay, I'll put them in subtitles so that I know what each paragraph is about. That's how I personally like to do it now, and put in any links in case I lose that page, because it does happen. So yeah, I do that first, and then when I start actually writing what I want to say, I just go and look up more references if I need it, because literally I just handed in my essay, right? And that reference list was 1.5 pages long. There was just no way that if I did search for references before I even start the essay, it would have been that long. But yeah, also I feel like to motivate your productivity, especially when it comes to schoolwork, is actually like having designated areas where you can study, you can associate with studying, and then other areas designated for rest, so that whole like thing of that your bedroom is supposed to be the place you relax. That's why you shouldn't try to study in your bedroom, because then you associate it with schoolwork and stuff like that you will find it difficult to relax, because your brain automatically thinks that you're in your bedroom, so it's time to go and do some work, right? And personally, I'm like a 70-30 person, where like 70% of the time I do actually study in my bedroom. I just sit at my desk and then I literally type it on my laptop, and I actually like my laptop closer to me, because I've realized that the further away it is, I actually don't want to do it. Sometimes I do bring it into my bed. Don't do that, guys. I did that last year, especially when I tried to finish an essay the day before it was handed in. Well, it wasn't even a day, it was the night before, and I accidentally fell asleep in my bed and woke up 2 minutes after the deadline. So yeah, don't do that. Yeah, I do go to the student union to study, because I actually low-key hate the only library on campus that is open 24/7. It is like one of the most ugliest and coldest library you could have ever built. It's so ugly. I don't like it, and it's very cold because it's always bringing in a draft of cold air. Don't know where it's come from, because it's a literal cement building. So yeah, I don't know where that's coming from, but yeah, I actually haven't really been in there to study at all this year alone. I've only been in the student union, and the only issue I have with my student union is that they blast out music that is so unnecessary. Like people, like so many people actually go there to study, and they have really nice booths and stuff, and I actually don't like a extremely silent like area or place. So that's why I go to the SU. And like the last time I went, I was in there to try and finish my previous essay, and it just started playing like remixes of Taylor Swift and turn it into like a club type of track. And I'm like, guys, it's 3 p.m. There's no need for this. Or they were going on a K-pop Demon Hunter run. Oh my god. And it was just playing like My Little Soda Bub. Like, I should not be hearing that through my headphones, may I add, while I'm trying to write a freaking critical review, okay? Because My Little Soda Pop is not part of that. And it's so distracting considering you can hear it through your headphones. But I would definitely say the student union has some questionable taste in the music they put during the day. So yeah, actually talking about assignments, I have from now till basically my last exam, I have 2 essays due at the beginning of May, and one of them's like a proper research type of paper where basically, because I do English language and linguistics, one of my modules is to do with corporas and stuff. If you guys don't know what that is, I'm sorry, I can't explain to you what that is either. I guess you could put it in a way where it's like it's a database of every single word in the, well, depending which language you're looking, but also I'm doing English, so of the English language in one website, and depending on which quote unquote corpus you are using, it will bring up all the words they find in that specific one. So like, for example, they have the is it English on the web one, or that something similar name to that, where it's like all English words that has been used on the web, and it's updated actually every day on that one. But there's been quite a few ones where they're like very outdated because they stopped doing it after a specific period. But anyways, for that one is a whole research paper for me, and I'm getting confused because this is actually not a module I wanted to do for 3rd year. So basically, funny story, just before 3rd year started last year, we were sent an email saying that some of the modules that we picked in the summer actually are not going to be taught this year, which is crazy. And why is it last minute? Like, why put that as an option knowing that A, there's probably not enough lecturers, or B, they're on like their own research leave. So yeah, they told us last minute. And 2 of my modules that I chose in the summer of 2nd year, they took it off the syllabus for the final year, and I was really upset because I didn't like any other modules on my course for 3rd year. So yeah, great going with my tuition money, guys. Yeah, and I guess like whether you like certain classes as well also affects your motivation. Like I said with this one, this module that I have to do this whole corpus thing, I dislike it so much, and obviously that doesn't make me want to do any of the work for it, to be honest, because like, I'm not being funny, who enjoys searching their soul in a corpus filled with millions upon billions of words and then do a whole research thing? And yeah, I don't know, to be honest, I really don't have a clue. But yeah, I dislike it. Anyways, I have 2 essays. I was like going on a whole tangent, but anyways, 2 essays at the beginning of May, and then I have 1 exam. Lucky me, because all my exams since first year for my course have been online 24-hour exams. So basically it just opens at 9 a.m. on, say for example, the 12th, and then it closes at 11:59 the day after, on the 13th. So yeah, 24 hours to do an exam actually is pretty chill, because I think like now that's how I've been conditioned to do exams. If you tell me to do a closed book in a hall, I don't think I could do that anymore. So fun times. Yeah, when I mean online exam, literally means online. I can just search if I needed to. But most of my exams have been essays on these 24-hour exams. So yeah, that's been really fun, I guess. Anyways, I hope this episode was relatable in some way, because I'm sure everyone has gone through a period of productivity and then just burnout, including a crash out, which, like I said, I'm a pro at. So yeah. Don't forget to follow the podcast on Spotify. If you're listening on there, make sure you follow, and make sure you also subscribe to the YouTube channel and turn on the post notifications to be notified when I next upload an episode, and also when I next post, by the way, guys. Don't forget, I do post regular videos / vlogs every Sunday at 11 a.m. British Standard Time now, or I'm guessing it's summertime. So yeah. And obviously these episodes of the podcast are uploaded every other Friday at 1 p.m. So make sure you are notified so you know when the new episode drops, and make sure you follow me on Instagram and TikTok, because I obviously post on there quite a lot. And take care of yourselves. I will see you guys, or talk to you guys, in the next episode. Bye.